Welcome po, welcome back no, to Lira in Law, broadcasting live as usual from London, England, and talking about legal matters that concern you. Ang pangalan ko po, and I am certainly your host tonight, Lira Simon Kabatbat of Douglas Simon Solicitors. I am a solicitor of 34 years. 34 years. Post-qualification experience. So hindi pa kasama yung pag-aaral ko and the training. If you add those 6 years, then you're looking at obviously 4 decades of doing of law. But post-qualification experience, as I say, 34 years. Actually, I mean, that's, I'll say this now because in case she's watching, because I did send you the link earlier. Meron ako nakita kanina, nakalayante ko, and she pointed out that actually we first met 32 years ago. It's madness. I'm not going to name names, obviously, no. But if you're watching, you know who you are, no. Nakita kami kanina nga, and it's 32 years ago. Nakita nga kami, 32 years. But anyway, but even then, I'd already been qualified for 2 years, no. But yeah, she points out that she's probably one of my first, clients, and I think she's probably right, So I've been doing this a long time, and so thank you very much for joining me again, tonight for our usual get together at Lira and Law. It's every Thursday evening between 7:30 onwards. And as usual po, ang pag-uusapan nga natin ngayon are issues that concern you. We're not limited to immigration, of course, but a lot of questions nga are posed with immigration aspects. Sometimes family nga din, and also sometimes probate ang pinag-uusapan natin with and sometimes even employment law. But I say again, I say this every time, kung meron kayong problema, nothing beats face-to-face, individual, independent advice. So, but I will certainly try and assist a little bit by hopefully being able to point you in some kind of direction nga. But truly, nothing beats independent legal advice. Kung meron kayong problema, small or large, it's probably a good thing to do. It's good investment. So you should do it, especially kung malaking ang problema. And tonight nga, is no different. We're going to be dealing now with questions that are perhaps not so complex, and certainly questions that are quite complex. So hopefully you'll be able to continue, joining me for throughout nga. And kung meron kayong mga kaibigan, kamag-anak, who's perhaps can be assisted by our topic or indeed the questions nga mamaya, share our link. Sharing is caring, as they say, and certainly you should share our link. Libre naman eh. So, share it, and at least hopefully it makes them feel a little bit better, or kaya maybe it triggers something that makes them do something else, that may make their lives nga better, or indeed may make them seek independent legal advice. So, ang topic po natin ngayon is visit visa refusal. As usual, this has come from one of your questions nga. So ang star question po natin nga ngayon, let me just see if I can bring it up, put it up, and I'll read that briefly nga. So let me just see. So so star question nga natin is to do, ito, no? So, my mom's visa, sabi niya, was refused even though I submitted all the necessary documents, and we just had a baby last year. The refusal stated that they were not satisfied that she meets the requirements of paragraphs V 4.2 to V 4.6 of Appendix V. When can we reapply? Again, please help. Thanks for this show, sabi niya. Great question. On so many levels. Ito nga, of course, itong question nga ito is to do with visit visa and a refusal of visit visa. And I thought I would use this as a topic because, of course, now it's Easter has passed, May is coming up tomorrow, and of course then the summertime, and a lot of people they take maybe summer holidays, and or indeed because it's summer holidays coming up in the UK, they want to bring family from from the Philippines to come along, no? Yung viewer nga natin, sabi niya, they just had a baby last year. So ang gusto niyang gawin, I assume, is she wants to bring her mother to the UK to maybe to meet the new baby and maybe help out a little bit nga din, no? So unfortunately, she's had refusal, and this is not an uncommon scenario nga. So yung titingnan nga natin ngayon. But because it's a star question, we're going to unpack it in quite a lot more detail. So titingnan nga natin the guidance itself, which by the way, I'll post the full guidance to do with visit visa applications, nga, the conditions, requirements that the Home Office will be looking at, the guidance that the caseworker will be looking at when they're dealing with application. I'll post that on Facebook, yung buo, no? But I will particularly look at yung nga, sabi niya dito, V, that's paragraphs V 4.2 to V 4.6 of Appendix V. This denotes visitor, okay? So yung titingnan nga natin. And then hopefully we'll be able to, I'll be able to point you in some direction nga. And with any luck, when you make a new application, then you'll be able to succeed with that application. So yung titingnan nga natin. So it truly pays to submit your questions because ito nga, titingnan nga natin, we're going to look at it in detail. Pero hindi nga lang po yung pag-uusapan natin mamaya. Certainly we're looking with visa applications. Absolutely, we're also looking at children applications, first passports nga, all sorts of things. So hopefully you'll be able to continue joining me. And if you have to go, no, and you can only catch the first half, watch the second half nga, because it could be that it's something that assists you. Okay, so we're going to take a quick break. Saglit nga lang po, and then we're going to launch into our topic and star question nga natin, which is topic natin, visit visa refusal. Okay, saglit nga lang po. All right, see you in a moment. Welcome back to Lira in Law. Magandang gabi po sa inyong lahat. Ang pangalan ko po Lira Simon Kabatbat of Douglas Simon Solicitors. Abogado po ako dito of over 30 years post-qualification experience. Now, without further ado, let us launch into our star question. So I read the question earlier on, but let's just unpack it a little bit. So the question is to do with yung viewer nga natin, is to do with her mom's visit visa application refusal. So nagpasok siya ng application, yung application ng nanay niya na refuse, unfortunately. So it's a visit visa, tourist visa, to just come to the UK to visit, no? One of the reasons I suspect is to be able to meet her granddaughter, baby nga, no? Granddaughter or grandson who was born nga last year. So na-refuse nga siya, unfortunately. Ang sabi daw ng Home Office as reason for the refusal, they made reference to ang tawag nga is paragraphs V 4.2, V denotes visitor, dash V 4.6 of Appendix V. Again, as I say, it stands for visitor, Appendix V, which is visitor nga. So, tanong niya, it's been refused, so, and also, can they reapply? So, titingnan po nga natin, can they reply? No? Is there a way of challenging also the refusal nga? And what does V 4.2 to V 4.6 mean? No? Kailangan yung malaman yun so that when you're making a new application, you can actually address the issues No? So, as I've said earlier, I'm going to post on the Facebook nga the whole thing. That is the visitor appendix. It's a fair few pages, but we're going to concentrate on two particular pages dealing with the question nga. So, tingnan nga natin. So, unang-una, baliktarin ko yung issues nga. So, last question niya is, when can we reapply again? So, let me deal with the last one first. Now, no, there's no time limit. So, hindi mo kailangan some people, and I don't really know why, think that they have to wait 14 days before they can make an application, or sometimes 28 days. I think that's because they're getting it mixed up with the time for appealing. No, not this visa application, but general appeals. So normally with immigration, where there's a right of appeal, and not all applications have a right of appeal, but where there's a right of appeal, if it's in country, generally it's 14 days. If it's from outside the United Kingdom, the applicant, then it's usually 28 days. I think that's where it comes from. But visit visa applications are unfortunately no longer lead to an automatic right of appeal. In the past, I mean, it wasn't really automatic, but in the past there was a right of appeal. That's a few years ago. No, inalis nila nga yung right of appeal to do with this visa applications. The only way of challenging it would be by way of, say, judicial review, okay? Or in some cases, you can have a go at appealing it where you think that there are human rights aspects that have been breached, but that's quite difficult. No? It would mean you put in an appeal, and then it could be that when you are at the first-tier tribunal, they say, well, you have no right of appeal, or indeed there may be a preliminary issue. But generally, there's no right of appeal with visit visa applications. So yung tanong nga niya, the last question, which is when can we reapply? Importante po yun. Because if you can't appeal it, then how do you challenge it? The answer is it may be better for you not to challenge that decision, but to simply reapply. And as I've said, wala pong time limit. So if you get a refusal today, you can make an application the following day. Generally, people wait a little bit to take advice. Okay, titignan nga nila uli, napag-iisipan nga nila, pag-uusapan nga nila, and then they will look at making a new application. So you can make an application now for your mother for her to enter the United Kingdom for visa to enter the UK as a visitor. So you can do that now. Now that that's if you do that, there are certain things to look at, and that is what does V4.2 to V4.6 mean? Okay, now that lists the V4 lists the eligibility requirements. No, ano kailangan nyo pakita for visitors, the standard one. No, it lists it between 4.1 to 4.6 essentially. Now, so you 4.2 to 4.4.2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. It seems is what was noted. Now, it's not unusual to list nga the whole, near enough, all the points, but usually they focus on one or two. But it seems dito they had a whole gambit of problems with the application. So ang gawin natin, titingnan nga natin, what does 4.2 say? 4.3, 4.4, and then 4.6. And how do you then deal with those issues for the next application? Dahil importante po, pagka nagpasok siya panibagong application, you deal with those points. Some people, they think, it's better to ignore it so that makakalimutan nila that there was a refusal. That's madness. They won't forget there's a refusal, for one thing, because there's a record of it. So you need to distinguish, you need to deal with this application. So in the representations or on the application form, you need to disclose that there was a refusal, because failure to disclose, they may be tantamount to deception from their point of view if you fail to disclose it. So you need to disclose it, but you should disclose it anyway, because you need to deal with the points of concern. Hindi na makakalimutan. And so there's no point failing to deal with it in the hope that they're not going to think it's a problem. If it's a problem, deal with the problem. Okay? So pagka nagpasok yung application, ang payo ko, at certainly what I do for my clients nga, and if you seek advice, I'm sure this is also something they would say to you, yung mga abogado nga, they will say, okay, you need to deal with the points of concerns. So ako, ang ginagawa ko, I actually use it as subcategories, no? So I would say, in fact, in my representations, I will say, okay, I've had a refusal. Remember, this is coming from your mother, okay? So as an appellate, so it would be addressed from your mother. I've had a refusal on whenever that was, no, 30th of April, 2026. The refusal was based on 4.2, ganito, 4.3, ganito. I deal with these issues in turn and actually list them, right? Deal with the points. So let's have a look now. So how will you deal with the points? Now, let me just show you the eligibility requirements for visitors, 4.2, okay? Let me flash that on your screen. Tingnan nga natin. 4.2, no, the rule itself, tingnan nga natin ito. So 4.2, let me just read that to you if I can bring it up. So ito yung buo, no? Immigration Rules Appendix V for visitors. I'm going to say V for victory, but V for visitor, no? So I'll scroll down to, I can't remember what page it is now, but it's the one that says Part V4, okay? Let me just, yeah, so yeah, V4, Part V4, eligibility requirements, 4.1. So let me just go, yeah, okay, 4.1. Now I'll scroll up again. So so that just lists the what the decision maker need to be satisfied when they're dealing with an application. But ang problema nga, so dito, they deemed that it's an application nga pursuant to 4.1. So 4.2, the refusal was based on 4.2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. So tingnan natin. V4.2, let me just have a look. Let me scroll up. So V4.2 is to do with genuine intention to visit. No, I'm not going to read all of that to you, but you can go back to it later on. So, importanteng kailangan nyo mapakita nga na the intention is actually just to visit. Now, that's quite hard actually. Hindi nga yung basta-basta dahil how do you prove intention? Because it's quite a vague thing, no? You can intend something, but how do you prove it? And sometimes there are, so for example, if you say we intend to live together as in the United Kingdom, again, you can't really prove that intent, but you can submit documents to show that that's the intention. So for example, if you're bringing in your spouse into the United Kingdom, it is your intention that you live together. So maybe when you hear that you marry, for example, or that you were together over there already, you were sending money, for example, you've already set up a home, for your partner when they come to the UK. So you can provide documents in support of an intention. Now, harder than that is with a negative intention, which is really what they're looking for here. Gusto na makita that you're actually not going to overstay. And how do you prove that? And that's a question a lot of people ask me about, because how do you prove it? And they're right. No? How do you prove that you do not intend to breach the law? And there again is a question of documents in support. So basically, gusto na makita na uuwi siya, lalabas pa siya, no? Hindi nga siya dito titira, no? Na hindi nga siya mag-overstay nga dito. And of course, that there's 4.2, also 4.2E also says they must have sufficient funds in the UK and that they're not going to be accessing public funds. Not that you would be entitled anyway, but you own. In order to show that, it's really very much a question of submitting as many documents as you can. Now, I'll give you, how do I deal with this for my clients, no? So, starting point is prepare either a letter of representations, that includes the law and also the facts, or what a lot of people find easier is parang affidavit, or statement. Doesn't have to be anything formal. It does not need to be sworn before a notary public sa atin nga, but it has to be a statement from mom, for example. No? So, sasabihin nga niya doon, pangalan niya. Don't forget. Don't just launch into it the facts without the intro. The intro being pangalan nga niya, address nga niya, Filipino siya, anong birthday niya, ilang taon na nga siya dito. So normally for my clients, I would say tapos pangalan. So I would say, kung ako para sa akin, I would say Lira Simon Kabatbat of make the statement knowing the same to be true. So like I'm the applicant in this matter. I was born on. I'm retired. If you're retired already, o kung nagtatrabaho nga siya, anong trabaho nga niya, and ilang taong nga siya, no? I'm making the application to be able to obtain a visit visa, to be able to visit my daughter, for example. Yung viewer nga na, my daughter, who's living in the United Kingdom. She's living in the UK with yung asawa nga niya, and recently they had a baby. Lagay nga din yun. Now, and then because she's already had a refusal, I'm aware that I had a refusal that my application on so-and-so date was refused based on, and then put it in point 4.2, genuine intention to visit. Makikita nyo dyan. And use the heading, genuine intention to visit. And doon, lagay nyo, what are things that are keeping you in the Philippines? So for example, where you have a job, sa ating o nag-aaral ka, probably not, but pero ka negosyo, so you may want to say in the Philippines I have these economic commitments. So yung may negosyo ka or na meron kang trabaho, you're just getting a longer sabbatical. If you're retired already, baka may mga pamilya ka nga din doon, and don't be shy to also say I have a comfortable life, if that's the case in the Philippines. I have my own home. My income is being is received from pension, ganon. Lagay nyo. So why would you overstay? That's the point you're trying to make. Why would you overstay in the United Kingdom when you have a perfectly good and comfortable life nga in the Philippines? So So what are the things that tie you, to the Philippines? And again, yung edad mo din. Yung edad ng nanay mo. So it could be that she's now retirement age. You have no intention of working. You've been retired. You can say for 5 years, for example. You have no intention pursuing employment, and certainly not in the UK. You are, and you've always been. You've not been in breach of any laws, in the Philippines or any other country. Lagay nyo. So it's difficult to prove a negative, but so the way to do it nga is say what are the ties that bind you to the Philippines? Are you you have a comfortable lifestyle? So for example, I remember dealing with 4 boys, coming into the United Kingdom, and ang problema nga, all of them, they were late teens, early 20s nga at the time already. And ang problema sa kanila, they all didn't have a job. But that was fine. Dahil ang nanay nila at saka tatay nila ditong nagsusustento. And they had a nice house nga sa Pinas. They had a comfortable living. They were considering whether to study o kaya hindi. They had a good life. And that's what we pointed out, that they have a good life nga in the Philippines. Meron din silang katulong. Why would they wish to overstay nga in the United Kingdom? So you may wish to prepare nga yung statement ng nanay mo dealing with those. So that is this genuine intention to visit. And also don't forget, there's a reason why she's coming. And give it some prominence that in the UK, maybe it's your first grandchild or first grandchild with this daughter nga, they can't take as much time off, and you want to be able to spend time nga with your grandchild, and also your daughter in the UK. You can do that because you're already retired, so you can maximize nga the time you can spend, which is 6 months, whereas they would not be able to do that if they were to go to the Philippines. Maximum, kung nagtatrabaho sila, then you probably look at maximum 1 month. No? So also put that down. No? So there is a real reason why, and it's a genuine reason why you're looking to visit the United Kingdom, right? Now, don't forget, as I say, and then they deal with funds, maintenance, accommodation provided by the family. So I don't really know why they've also refused it on 4.3, but that's to do nga with money, maintenance. So it could be na ang nagpadala nga lang kayo ng dokumento galing kay nanay, sabihin natin, no? So it could be na pinadala nyo nga lang yung bank account niya, baka naman hindi sapat, no? Because by the time you pay for airfare, especially now, no, baka na mauubos na. So they may think that, well, kung di pa nga sapat yung pera niya para sa airfare nga lang, well, how is she going to maintain herself in the United Kingdom without recourse to public funds? Not that she would be entitled anyway, as I've said. And so, importante nga din, you can, of course, submit, and you should submit also, bank statements nyo, no? So, bank statements nyo along with the pay slips. Now, it's April now, or it's nearly May na nga. So you probably also have P60s. The P60s are good because P60s cover the 1-year income. So maganda naman sweldo yung pareho, ikaw at yung asawa mo, your partner mo nga, no? Then submit both. It may be that you're already going back to work, or indeed even if you're on maternity, makikita nga nila doon. So submit all of those. And also do your sums. So yung statement nga ng nanay mo, or statement mo also, sabihin nyo doon, so yung statement nanay mo, it may simply say, when I'm in the United Kingdom, all my needs will be provided for by my daughter and my son-in-law, and they've also prepared a statement. That's usually what I do. You may want to also put in a similar thing. So yung statements nyo, galing sa iyo mismo, you can say, okay, itong trabaho ko ngayon, itong sweldo ko, ang kita ko net per month ito, ang expenses namin ito, no? So it's for you to say, na sapat nga ang pera nyo pagka nandito na si nanay, no? Na okay, kung kayo din sasagot ng pamasahe, then simply say that, kami sasagot ng pamasahe, no? As in when she gets a visa, we're going to pay for her airfare, of course, anything that she needs in the UK, we will provide for. She will be staying at our home, may kwarto nga doon, no? So if you're renting, absolutely, you should also say there, you're renting, it's not a problem, there's enough space. You may need a fairly brief letter from your landlord to say, yes, we're happy for mom to stay here for that limited amount of time, for example, just in case that becomes a problem for the Home Office. So that's funds, maintenance, and accommodation provided by a third party. That's allowed. That's 4.3. So somehow the Home Office, going back to our viewer's question now, was also unhappy with 4.3. So it could be that it was not enough yung pinadala nyo nga. And again, specify it, no? So sa statement nga niya or legal representation, sabihin, I was also refused on 4.3, no? Funds, maintenance, accommodation. Use it as a heading, no? It could be that you don't really understand why it was not refused, and say that. Usually, I would say, I don't understand, and I'm unhappy with the refusal based on 4.3 when I have provided the following previously. No, lista nyo nga. But in any event, given my new application, I'm providing again these documents. Ilista nyo. No? As I say, bank statements are important. Pay slips are important. It's now April now, so you should have your P60. I'm talking about, and I'm talking to you, the daughter, and also the son-in-law. And anything else, really. Kung meron siyang savings sa atin, no? Meron siyang pension nga sa atin, meron siyang negosyo sa atin, submit all of those. Pero kung wala, it's you can submit, you're allowed to, under 4.3, to submit documents, third-party support. Okay? Importante po yun. So that's 4.3. Now, 4.4, okay, is to do with an undertaking. Now, it doesn't have to be, but generally, the Home Office can ask you, no, because you're sponsoring your mom, for an undertaking that you're going to be providing for maintenance and accommodation. Hindi lang yung basta-basta. Some people say, oh, I want problema undertaking. Undertaking here has a legal has a legal consequence, which means sabihin natin you give an undertaking and then so that she's going to she's going to actually not rely on, say, public funds or indeed NHS, no? May nangyari, sabihin natin, no? And there's medical costs involved. They can pursue you for it because you gave this undertaking, right? So it has teeth, as they would say. No? They can pursue you. That's 4.4. Now, 4.5 is to do with work. Now, I'm not really sure why they would refuse your mom on 4.5 unless they think that in coming to the UK, she will effectively be working for you as kind of an unpaid nanny. By the way, even if you're not paying someone, that can still be considered work. No? So, iklaro nyo. So you're looking to visit. No? It's not employment, and I can't imagine why they would think it's employment. So you're not looking, of course, to be employed in the UK, but you're simply looking to visit and also help, no, in caring for the baby. You know, I can't see how they would consider that employment, but you just have to be careful. Yung po yung 4.5, no? Now 4.6, it just goes on. Now, permitted activities must not amount to the applicant taking up employment. So, amount to them to filling a role or providing short-term cover for a role within a UK-based organization. I can't see why that would be for your mom, no? Unless you've made certain declarations that they may think, well, she's gonna come in and do a temping job, no? So I think that kung ang refusal po is 4.2 to 4.6, but not really particularizing what exactly is the problem, then I would even say that, no, sa application nga, so sa statement or the legal representation, say it was not particularized exactly what the problem was, no? But certainly work. There's no indication. Absolutely, she does not intend to work in the UK. But for some reason, 4.5 and 4.6 were also noted. Now, if you meet, if you deal with all of those, and you met with another refusal, then you may want to actually consider at that point either nga appeal is going to be a difficulty because there's no right of appeal for visitors, but you can certainly consider nga judicial review. No, you don't have to launch into a hearing into an application to the court immediately, but you can say to them that they need to specify their reasons. Otherwise, you're going to seek assistance, seek advice on judicially reviewing them. Because the Home Office should not simply make decisions without basis. That they're not allowed to do, because if they do that, that means that they're not following their own process. So judicial review is quite different from an appeal. But you may need to go there if you need to actually challenge them. Okay, so you're on. But I'm hoping that. Now, in dealing with the points, now next time around, your mom will simply be granted her application. Okay, right? So I hope that's of help. But really, especially kung meron kayong refusal, truly nothing beats independent legal advice, because it could be that there's certain things na sinabi nyo o hindi yung pinadala na you need to address. Because also, if you made a mistake, you need to address the mistake. Okay, sometimes it can just be question of a word that shouldn't have been there, like not. Right? I've had those issues also where they've said, well, you've said it's not, no? You said that you do not, and in fact, what you meant was you do. Okay? So it could be that, it could be it was simply misconstrued. Hopefully that helps. Pero sabihin niyo sa akin kung ano nangyari, no? I always say, I'm truly interested. Dahil ang nakakainis sometimes is, it's I get the problem, and then pag pinag-usapan nga natin, hindi ko alam kung anong nangyari. It's a bit like, as I say, reading a book and not knowing how it ends. Right? Anyway, hopefully that's of help to you. We have other questions. And of course, yung may batian din nga tayo, no? Let me just see. Kung may bumabati na nga ngayon, let's do that with questions. So, sandali nga natin. Tingnan ko. Otherwise, we'll do the questions first. Miss Jones! Look, and the photo, yung photo is absolutely spot on because it's spring. A sunny Thursday evening, sabi niya, Attorney Lira, and everyone watching. Another dagdag kaalaman evening to us all. I hope you're well, no? I hope you're home, and eating something. Well, I know you're watching. Hopefully, you're eating something at the same time. I like doing that. I don't know. Do you find doing? I like listening to something or watching something whilst I'm eating. I know it's probably not a good habit. Guy, the great guy from London. Good evening, Samia. Good evening, Attorney Lira. Good topic. Doug knowledge to everyone. Tama ka, Guy. Guy, the great guy. And then he then says, a sunny Thursday. Tama ka. It is sunny actually today. A sunny Thursday to Attorney Lira and to the viewers. Happy Labor Day tomorrow. Oh yeah, 1st of May. I worked in Canary Wharf today. Good news, Attorney Lira, sabi, I'm ambassador for Tap Send remittance app. Use Guy the Guy, as promo code for first-time users. Looking forward to lots of learning again and to Attorney Lira's lovely voice. Guy the great guy. He's a great guy. No, he's a devoted dad to Justin. Now let me just see if May Tigbauer Gas. Hello, sabi niya, and good evening, Attorney Lira, and to all viewers, happy Thursday. God bless everyone. God bless May. Are you well? No, are you enjoying the evening? No, I mean, I'm looking out and it's still quite sunny outside. And alas 8 na, no? Lagpas na nga. It's quite nice, no? David Calixto the second, hailing from the Philippines, no? Good evening po sa UK. Good morning sa Pinas. Madaling araw sa Pinas, no? It's actually, I am following avidly, balita sa atin, the political storm. Where do you start, But also, I'm following. I don't know if you quote this nga, the Supreme Court, arguments on recognition of foreign divorces. So interesting. At the Supreme Court judges and indeed the lawyers, and also the experts that they've actually brought in to clarify certain points. Like there was an expert on canon law, to do with church law. So they were. It's great, truly. It's so if you can catch it, actually, I'm going to see if I can post also on Facebook now the link to the oral arguments. It's great. It's top-notch legal arguments. I am glued to it. So anyway, so if ako kayo, I would also do it. Now let me just see if anyone else. Outcast. Magandang gabi, sabi niya. Such a good topic, relevant this day. Tama ka. It's unfortunately, I am coming across more refusals, visit visa applications, than I have ever, in fact, in the last few years now. So you have to be truly on the ball when you're making an application, because they won't call you. My experience is they won't call you to say, okay, dagdagan nyo nga ito. Hindi. They would just refuse it. Yeah. So do not count on them making contact. Oh, yes, watching with my sister. Hello. Hello. Miss Tomas, no? I'm assuming you're saying Miss Tomas. Kamusta po? Kamusta? I hope you're well. Yeah? I hope you're well. And you're still doing your dancing. Don't ask me how I know that. Okay? Now, so let me have a look. So let me just see about our questions nga. No. So ito, I confused myself because I get myself a bit so engaged nga in the questions. No. Sabi niya dito, good day, sabi niya, I would like to inquire about assistance about assistance in applying for a British passport for my 3-year-old daughter. She's currently in the Philippines and her father is a British citizen. We would like guidance on her eligibility, required documents, application process, fees, and estimated timeline. You must seek advice. But let me see if I can at least point you in the right direction. Please let me know if this is something you can assist with. Thank you, sabi niya, no? Now, we're making certain assumptions, okay? The assumption being that yung anak mo, that she's automatically, you did say daughter, automatically British. That can be, no? So your daughter can be automatically British if born outside the UK, and all the following applies, okay? Because I'm just going to deal with just in case she's not. So she was born after the 1st of July 2006. Clearly she was, because she's only 3. Mother or father, in this case father, was a British citizen when she was born. Importante po yun, okay? And the British parent, no, yung tatay nga, can pass on citizenship. So British by descent or not descent nga. So ibig sabihin, it's to put that in context, if the British parent already became British because they were born outside the UK, sabihin natin sa Pilipinas, but their parent was already British at the time, then it's only a 1 generation thing. So in that case, it could be that she can't actually pass on his citizenship to your daughter. But that doesn't mean necessarily that that's the end of it. So tingnan nga natin, no? But so if all of those apply, she's already British, tama ka. So all she needs to do is to apply for her first British passport. Titingnan nga natin yon. But if the father, if she's not automatically British, she may still nevertheless become British by applying for what's called registration. No? Now, but that would have to be done before she can apply for British passport, because the citizenship is not conferred to your child until she's registered nga. No? If she needs to do that as a process in between, then there's a fee, which actually went down rather than unusually, for the registration of £1,000. Okay, but going back to your question, no, you're telling me she's British, and hopefully she is nga, no. In which case, ang gusto mo malaman, applying for British passport. Now, you can apply online or by post. Ang payo ko, do it online. It's faster, it's cheaper, and also because you're abroad, you should do it online. You know. So if you apply online, it costs £66.50. Now, kailangan nyo, you need a digital photo. And if you go on the Home Office website, there's a kind of do's and don'ts for photos. No? So you need a device that obviously takes digital photos. If you have an iPhone, that will do. You need supporting documents. I'll come back to that, okay? And you, of course, kailangan mong debit or credit card mo because you need to pay the fee when you make the application of £66.50. When you make an application by post, the application form is paper application, obviously, and the fee is a little bit higher. It's £80, okay? Now, and you need to also send two new photos of your child, no? Either way, either online or by post, the following documents will be required. Full birth certificate ng anak mo. Nandun yung kailangan dun pangalan ng tatay niya because she's deriving her citizenship from dad, okay? Proof that your child has British nationality, no? For example, registration certificate if you need to go register, or the parents' passport details or parents' birth certificate. So yung ama niya, no, passport nga niya, the British passport, of course, and also birth certificate. So So mapapakita nyo that he's British and therefore she is British too. Any valid passport, kung meron siyang passport from a different country, so kung meron siyang Philippine passport, that also needs to be submitted nga. Any court orders, probably unlikely in your case, because I'm assuming you're living with, or you're together with the father nga. So yun, those documents nga are submitted. Allow time, ha? Mabagal sila nga ngayon. And so as I say, do it online. Do it online rather than by post, because it's quite a bit faster if you do it online. And don't forget, always check for emails. Always check your junk mail, because I've had cases where they've asked for additional documents. Hindi nakita ng kliyente ko. Kami, in the office, we always automatically check, or someone checks nga the junk mail, no? In case things go there. And then you don't find it. So check always your junk mail, because it's not unusual for emails to go there. So yun ang kailangan nyo. Now, we have some more questions. So sandali nga lang. Sabi niya dito. Now, let me have a look. Tingnan ko yung questions natin. Okay. Pwede po ba ma-enlighten, Attorney Lira? Sabi niya, kung ano pong ibig sabihin nito. Nag-biometric po ang anak ko last 15 April. Okay, so 2 weeks ago. Okay? Then, na-receive namin ang passport noong 17 April. Pero wala pong stamp. At wala rin kami na-receive na email regarding the decision. Ano pong ibig sabihin nito? No? Medyo kinakabahan kami. Worried na at nalulungkot na po ako. I'm not surprised. No? You're worried. No? But nothing really necessarily to worry about yet. Now, passports are usually returned before the decision. No? They don't like to hold on to passports. So it's not at all unusual that the passport was returned 2 days later. No? Now, check your email. Sabi ko nga, check your junk email, because it could be that it found its way there. Pero kung wala pa rin, don't panic, especially if it's not a straightforward application. It could be that they're just taking their time nga, no? But you can follow it up later on. It depends where you email will depend on, and it's by email. It will depend on where the application was made nga, no? So if you want to follow it up, email me later on your email. Tapos ang gagawin ko, I'll send you the link to where you lagay mo nga, sabihin mo nga lang doon where was the application submitted, so I can send you the correct link if you are from abroad, if you email, if you're querying from abroad or from the United Kingdom nga. But don't worry, it's truly not unusual. At saka yung decision nga nila, the visas are no longer stamped on passports, because now we have this e-visa, okay? So it will actually be, you need to create an account nga and makikita. So it's no longer a stamp on a passport. No, it's no longer the vignette nga. So good luck. Let me know what happens. Please do tell me what happens. Yeah. Now, I'm sure meron pa tayong mga questions. Let me just have a look nga. Okay. So yeah. Hello po, sabi niya, no? Ask ko lang po, may possibility ba na mag-question o ma-deny ang entry ko sa UK kung matagalan po ang gap between visa approval and actual date of travel? Ano po kaya mga dapat kong i-prepare para maiwasan ang anumang issue sa immigration? This is actually a follow-up question from 2 weeks ago. So sabi niya, hindi nga siya nakabiyahe, no? Within the 3 month, and within the 3 month, so sabi niya nag-iipon pa rin nga sila, no? Para sa pamasahe, especially nga ngayon, no? Well, ang sabi ko nga, well, just get another share code, no? It's and that'll be valid again for 90 days, but you should really travel within that time, because otherwise, if you travel again later on, that means it's been 6 months since you were granted a visa. So the sooner you can travel, the better. But you already said nga before, maybe sometime nga in July, hopefully sooner than that, but maybe sometime nga in July. There's nothing, what to prepare? Just prepare yourself if you get asked. So if they ask you the question, well, why has it taken you so long to travel? Just be truthful. Ang sabi mo nga, nag-iipon kayo. because the airfare, actually, especially now, has gone up by quite a bit. And so that's the only reason why you did not travel immediately. But bear in mind, when you make an application, spouse visa, for example, when you make an application for a spouse visa, the 5 years in due course for indefinite leave to remain does not start from the date you granted the visa, but starts from the date that you arrived in the UK. So it could be that you need to apply for further extension to make up the 5 years, because you may be 6 months out from the grant of leave to remain. Good luck. Let me know what happens, ha? Talaga. Let me know what happens. Now, let me just have a look. Meron pa tayong mga questions, I think. Okay. So sabi niya dito, I think that's the one from before. So let me just have a look nga. So that was the original one, I think. So yeah. So that was the original one, but we have some more questions, I think. So let me just see. Let me see if I can bring up the other questions. You can tell we're live, no? Things are not immediately to hand. So tingnan nga natin. So let me have a look. Let me see. Right. So let me just have a look. Oh, okay. Slight technical issue. That was why I couldn't bring it up. So let me just see if I can bring it up now in my questions natin. So I think we have at least another couple of questions now, which if possible, I'd like to deal with. So now, so sandali. Otherwise, we'll have to do it next week. Now, tingnan ko. So let me have a look. Okay. So ito. Hello, attorney, sabi niya. And sa viewers po ng show. Quick question lang po. Can I apply for a different type of visa if I'm not able to pass my life in the UK test? I currently hold spouse visa, which is due to expire soon. Looking forward to some advice. You're not on your own, okay? Then the life in the UK test is truly not easy. Sabi ko ng mga kliyente ko, the sooner you can start studying for it, truly the better. Okay? Now, kung hindi ka makapasa, so just to give you background, kung spouse visa ang tao, in this case yung viewer nga natin, 5 taon na siya nga dito, she can then probably apply for indefinite leave to remain for settlement. But to do that, kailangan nga niya the B1 at the moment, B1 English language, which I assume you've already passed, and also the life in the UK test. That's the one that's multiple answer questions, no? And that's quite hard. It's the pass mark there is quite low, actually. Now, so most people have to do at least twice. The average at the moment, I would say, is 3 times, probably edging towards four times before someone passes nga. So if you can't pass it, pero matatapos na ang visa mo, you're truly not alone. If that's the case, unang-una, apply. Okay? Huwag mo pabayaan just because you are, don't delay it beyond your visa just because you can't pass the life in the UK test. You can apply to extend your visa, your spouse visa, as long as you continue to satisfy the other things. I'm talking about income, that you actually is still in the same relationship now. So you can simply apply to extend. So it's the FLRM rather than the application. So you don't have to change it. I mean, you can also change it. You can see about changing it to a work type visa, but you have to be careful, no? Then nagbago ng batas to do with work visa. So it could be that you're no longer able to obtain a cost certificate of sponsorship for the job that you do. Pero kung nagsasama pa rin nga kayo, you satisfy all the other requirements, apply for extension. So makukuha mo nga 30 months, okay? And then keep trying. And then next time around, of course, you need to submit your application nga for indefinite leave to remain, or you can submit your application. Oh, by the way, it could be that you need to submit an A2 test, unless you've done the B1 already. If you've done already the B1, then hindi problema, because the B1 is higher than A2. But if you've not done it yet, an English language, then you should at least do the A2 if you're extending in the United Kingdom. Okay? Now, meron pa tayong question, I think. Let me just see kung pwede natin ihabol. I don't know we're going over time, but let's see. Good evening po. Sabi niya, good evening po. Douglas Simon Solicitors. Gas simple yet confusing question lang po. I previously used a certain email for a successful UK visitor visa application. Tingnan nyo, no? It can happen. I'm now applying for a spouse visa. Is it fine to use the same email again or better use a new one? Thanks in advance. No, you can absolutely use the same one, especially kung yung ginagamit mo. No issue at all. No? Yeah, use it. Yeah, use it. Now, I think that's probably all our questions. Let me just check now. Now, I'm pretty sure that's all our questions. Yeah, and anyway, I've gone over time as usual. So, now, salamat po for keeping me company. I hope that I occupied you and piqued your interest, no, with our questions. Nga, it's always a pleasure to be with you. It's always a hoot, as they would say. So I hope you'll be able to join me again next week for our usual get together on a Thursday evening from 7:30 onwards at Lira and Law. Salamat po to the Facebook groups that allow us to post our contents on their pages. I'm very grateful. Viewers nga natin who are very kindly, send in their questions. Kung meron kayong mga questions, don't forget, send it in to us no later than Wednesday, no? So then from that, we may be able to choose nga a star question, no? So not only do you get some bragging rights, some serious bragging rights, but also, as you notice nga, we unpack it a bit more. Hopefully that's of help to you. And that it was enjoyable. I certainly enjoy myself all the time. Just leaves me to say, really, thank you very much again. Thank you for joining me, and I hope to see you next time at Lira and Law. Same time, same place. Good night.